Welcome to another edition of our Bethel Culture Podcast, where we seek to inform, influence, and inspire. Hopefully, we do all three of those a bit today on today's podcast. My name is Weston. I'm one of the pastors here at Bethel, joined with.
Hey, I'm Kevin, also one of the pastors on staff here at Bethel, joined with.
My name's Kiera Spilman. I am not a pastor on staff. I am a children's ministry director here at Bethel, and I get to hang out with all the kiddos on Sunday mornings, which is fun.
Absolutely. We'll explain why we've got Kiera joining here in a second, but our main topic for today is to talk through what we'll be kicking off here on December 1st is our read through, go through, preach through, teach through, lead your family through the New Testament chronologically through the years, starting December 1st, ending at the end of November next year. That's a lot. So I want to kind of hit a couple things because I know there's going to be lots of questions. We're going to try to tackle as many as we can today. So first is the reading plan, and I'll kind of hit that. You will be able to access it via your app, or you can do it on, if you want old school analog, you want a piece of paper, you want to check things off, there will be a verse list that way. But for those who've been reading through the Bible this year, it's been through just a whole year, and that's been on the app. So as of December 1st, technology, hopefully willing, everything will switch over, even though we have a new app coming. It's going to update, look a little differently. I don't know when that's going to happen, but there will be a reading plan on that as well. So be looking forward to that. So there is that side of things, and that will coincide with the preaching.
Oh, yeah. So usually when we preach a sermon, we'll have questions and follow-up discussions that you can dive into with your small group or with your family or whoever you just do life with. And so this time around, we would love for everyone to have already read what we're going to be preaching about that Sunday, which is pretty exciting, so that you've already dug into that scripture. You've already looked at what's coming up. And then as we're preaching about it, hopefully you're just like, oh yeah, I remember that, or I had a question about that, and that kind of answered that question. And so it's going to be kind of exciting to try this out because we've never done this, and I don't think Bethel's ever done something quite like this. So it's a fun new venture to dive into that we're really excited about.
I've definitely seen churches, and Bethel has in the past done like a 6-week series where we're all doing something together, but never a year long. And I know the women's Bible study that you've been a little bit a part of here and
Yeah.
there. I know our wives have done it. That the teachers there, the gals on the video will say that you want to create, for someone to really learn something, you want to create what's called cognitive dissonance, where you're trying to learn something and man, you just can't figure the answer out. And then you receive the answer. And a lot of times in the Christian world, we start with, we're just going to preach at you and give you the answers. And oh, that's interesting. And then I'm going to go home. Did I remember that? But the hope is, as you're reading through the scripture, as you come across something interesting, and then you hear it explained, take the study time we do and bring that to you. Now, will there be times where you'll have a question and we won't address it? Yeah, that'll probably happen quite a bit because we'll be reading a number of different things, and we're going to have picked from the 7 days that we have read that last week and preach. Sometimes it'll cover a whole swath of that. Sometimes it's just going to be one particular passage we're going to jump in on. And so we'll see how that goes. But we're going to have the Sunday morning worship experience tied to what we're personally reading. And we want the children's ministry experience just Sunday morning. Let's start with the Sunday
Yeah.
morning children's experience.
Yeah.
How is that going to connect in?
So we're going to be also doing that with our curriculum. Wow, I cannot speak
It's a big word, yeah.
curriculum.
Easy for you
There
to
we
say.
go. Curriculum. We're going to be doing that with our preschoolers and our K through 2nd graders and our 3rd through 5th graders. So that will be lining up with what you guys have been reading throughout the week, whether that's the parents, whether that's the kids. We'll be taking a lesson from that week before, and we're going to be doing a video, or we're going to do some activity sheets and do a lesson time with the kids. So it's pretty cool. I've always dreamed of doing something like this, where sometimes it can feel like children's ministry is its own thing, or young adult ministry or high school is its own thing. And I think this is just going to be really cool to cultivate those conversations around the dinner table.
And we have given Kiera the freedom that if, again, we're going through the Gospels, right? And there's maybe it works out that 7 actual different small stories of, Jesus, and we end up preaching on something different. Like, does she have to be teaching the kids? Like I said, no, just look at the passages from that week. If you pick something different, or it's going to be other things. We'll probably be 2 weeks in Ephesians,
Yeah.
so we're going to pick two topics that we're preaching on for children's ministry. How do you do Ephesians? Are you going to wrestle with, free will versus predestination?
Probably not.
Maybe not, maybe not.
Why
But
not?
you probably tackle the armor of God. That's a
Yes. Yeah.
pretty a
Yeah.
pretty common
Yeah.
one. So we have given her those freedoms. So there will be some things that you might not necessarily hear about the same thing that's preached on. That Damon might tackle something different in students, and the kids might tackle a little different, but it's all going to be from the reading of that week.
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
So, and then, but to go even another level, and this is the part that I'm really excited about, is we want what's happening at home to as much as we can connect with what's happening on Sunday morning, what's happening in youth throughout the week, things like that. So, Kira, why don't you explain that part?
Yeah, I'm super excited about this too because I've been thinking and praying about just like what would it mean to ask our third through fifth graders to start developing that routine of getting into the Word and getting to read the Bible for themselves, and even earlier on, like K through seconds, as they're learning how to read, like that, they're also capable of doing that. And then families being able to have that family devotional time with their children. So we would really like to empower you as parents to also be doing this Bible reading plan alongside your kids. And so we're creating something for your family each month, and it's going to be a family devotional, but also it can also be a tool for your children, especially those third through fifth graders. Here we go. Our third through fifth graders that they could really utilize for their own Bible reading plan. So basically, each, let me see, it has our monthly memory verse that's in here. And then at the start of each week, there's a family devotional that you can walk through with your children. And then one of my favorite aspects is for your third through fifth grader that is able to do that on their own, or K through second grader. There's a little check boxes that you guys can sign off on, and if your child brings that to me the next week at the kids check-in booth, I will give them a little prize just as a little incentive for them to be reading the Bible on their own and starting to cultivate that habit. So again, at the very start of the week, there's the family devotional aspect that you guys can do. To make it easy, we just did one family devotional, but then each day they have the scripture reading for that day and a little devotional along with it. So,
Yep, and even a little prayer prompt at the
yes,
end
yep,
to
little prayer
encourage them to
starter.
pray. Now, obviously, if you've already got devotions that your kids are
Mhm.
doing, like that's great. If you want to keep doing those, awesome. If you really like, I mean, it's hard to find good material like that. So
Mhm.
if you've dug and you have something you like, great, go for it. But we've just found, and we've tried this a couple times at Bethel over the years, to say, okay, parents are supposed to be the one discipling their kids, so let's try to give the parents tools and resources, and they do that first, right? Create that cognitive dissonance with the kids, and then they basically get the supplement. The church is coming alongside, supporting, resourcing, whatever, and it's not just giving the answers and preaching at the kids. And when we've tried to do it in the past, you get 2, 3, 4 families maybe do it, and I know we kind of had our families doing it, but we found the people around us were not necessarily doing it.
Yeah.
So we wanted to make this as easy as possible, and really up to your judgment call as parents. If you want to just pick one of these up and do it as a family, okay, that's fine. You got kids who you feel like you can read it, and it doesn't, obviously it's written and geared towards elementary
Yeah.
age. But if you want a junior higher to do it, if you want to do it personally,
Yeah.
all of that's fine too. Kevin, I'm thinking you've got kids kind of in this age. So what grades are Selah and Graham, and how do you think you would have them use this?
Yeah, Graham's in fifth grade and Selah's second grade. I think that's right. Yeah.
Homeschooling, I know it's
9
tricky.
and
It's tricky.
yeah, well, Graham's a
Approximately.
grade ahead than he should be, and then Selah's normal, I think. So that sounds about right. But I'm thinking we'll try to do this all together because right now we all do kind of have our own individual things that we do, and so to bring it as maybe more of a family discussion is kind of what I'm thinking of for our family. So I'll probably just grab one of those fancy booklets that Kiera made, and I don't know if you were blinded when she was holding that up, but she is engaged now. So
Oh.
congratulations
Oh.
to Kiera.
This is my booklet.
This is my booklet.
So yeah, way to go, Aaron Roberts and Kiera Spilman getting married soon.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And we are going to do it kind of like the Galatians, what do you call that? Bible notebook thing that we
Yeah.
did. That if you want a copy, we're asking for just a $5 free will donation. So if you can't afford it, that's fine. It basically costs us $5 to
Yep.
print them out because it's well, it's more than 30 pages because it's the days plus the devotions and everything. We just get them printed here in town, but we wanted them a little nicer than just what our copier could pull off. So we did pay to get them printed. So yeah, if you can't, they're yours if you can, and then you kind of decide if you want one per kid or one per family. And we honestly don't know how this is going to go. We
Yeah.
ordered 100 of them, figuring those we've got a number of kids and number of families, and we'll just see, and then we'll figure that'll be more than enough, and then we'll adjust from there. But again, the opportunity for everybody to take a leadership role, especially again, I know we have some families who are doing this, like Kevin's families already does, encourages their kids to have personal devotions. But if you don't do something as a family, well, then don't do the daily thing. If that's just, oh, that's too much, and I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. I want you to do something. Anything
Yeah.
worth doing is worth doing poorly. So if that means you just do the weekly family devotion, great, do that. If you're just going to read it as a whole family, great, do that. If you've got one kid that you really think, well, they're a reader, they will take that challenge, that they will do that, but the others necessarily won't, well, then do that. Whatever it is, take some kind of step with it. And then again, we're trying to make this whole integration with the whole church, that they'll get, Kira's going to try to reinforce them with prizes and support, and that's what they're talking about on Sunday morning, and encouragement. Hopefully their friends are talking about it too, and hoping we can really use that cultural element as a body, as a church, to spur one another on to love and good deeds.
Yeah.
So anything else to mention on that, Kiera?
Just as a side note, this is only for the month of December. So we're going to be trying to make sure that it's out a month ahead of time, the next month. So in December, you'd be able to buy January's. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, and there's a memory verse that just one
Yeah.
per month
Yeah.
that our hope is, as you tie this to Awana and just all the families and children are reading through and memorizing this one verse, that maybe at the end of each month. So actually Christmas Eve, we're hoping that we can pull a lot of the kids up and just we can recite John 1:14, I think, is our first one. The Word became
believe
flesh,
so, yeah.
dwelt among us, and we have
Yep.
seen His
Good
glory.
job.
Yeah.
Wow, you already have it memorized.
Well, I mean,
Good
that
job,
was an
Kevin.
easy one. Yeah, I'm already thinking of Christmas Eve in that aspect. So, memorizing is part of it as well,
Oh.
and just letting it sink down. And a lot of those verses that I memorized in Awana as a kid, like are still like I remember it in the version, mostly NIV. I think when we that version that we use. So a lot of those scriptures just are coming back up as you think years down the road, like that seed is hidden in our hearts. So
And again, another simple thing. I mean, we talked about it as we were planning this out. It seems standard. Let's do a verse a week, and then we thought, how many people will actually do that? And there will be some. I have no doubt. Some of you get into the Bible memory verse. You like that challenge. You can always challenge yourself. That's fine. But again, we wanted to do something for people who have never done this before. What is a good first step? Okay, a Bible verse a month, one verse a month that kids are memorizing. And who don't necessarily go to one. I know they do a lot of other Bible memory verses, but kids, there's a lot of kids who don't go, and parents and grandparents and anybody at Bethel can get one verse a month. So again, we want, now where will this go? Maybe this will go great, and we can capitalize on more things and build more spiritual disciplines into our church and our body and our culture, and that'd be great. Maybe it doesn't. We have to figure out something else out, but we want to be going for it. But we want to make things doable.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I'm trying to think any other elements. We did preaching, devotions, kids, youth. want to talk about I saw you just texted our wives about this. They were asking about resources.
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Go for it.
Oh, so yeah, they're just wondering, are there any other resources that go alongside this? And when Weston was putting this together, you used the ESV Chronological Bible.
Yes.
All right. So that kind of helped line everything up with that. So if you wanted a resource to kind of add some more study and reflection to, then that'd be a good one to grab on your own. And I know for Christmas, we kind of had to stretch a lot of the the weekly readings out because you want to stay within the Christmas story of Jesus putting on flesh and being born of a virgin and all the stories that tie into that. So instead of a quicker read through that, like its genealogy will take us actually a few days or weeks, right? Yeah.
Yes, there's not as much Christmas content as people think there is
No.
to get through for a whole month. But yeah, if you pick up that chronological Bible, now obviously for the New Testament, the Bible is designed to be read through chronologically in a year, and so this, the New Testament just covers the last 90 days of the year. So we're going to take, I don't know, whatever it starts on, day 270 or whatever. Well, we're going to take 3 days to get through day 270, and then basically another 3 days to get through day 271. So it doesn't necessarily line up day for day in that sense, but instead of like when we're in the Gospels, a daily reading might have a little bit from Matthew, a little bit from Mark, a little bit from Luke, and a little bit from John. And so rather than flipping through your Bible, well, Matthew 5 and John 12 and Luke this, the chronological Bible will be lined up. I used that because I had to put that all in various things. Oh, thank you. I had to put it in a system in an Excel program that we've all been working off on to build the children's devotion, to do the memory verses. We've all been working off that file together. So anyway, if that's a resource that you already have, great. If it's one you want to pick up, that's fine. If you just, again, want to work off the app, that's fine too. If you just want to work paper and flip your stuff, it's mostly the gospel and the gospels that will jump around a bit. After that, it will go through generally books of the Bible. And Acts, they take a couple breaks. They jump to Galatians, I think, after Acts 15 and a couple other things like that. And then for the most part, it's books of the Bible as a whole. So again, it won't be that big deal. It should be very doable.
Yeah.
So perfect. We're going to go into a new segment that we haven't done before called Bethel History, Bethel Memories. I don't remember what I called it. I didn't bring my notes with me. No notes.
It could be whatever you want it to be.
Whatever I want it to be. There'll be a graphic. It'll be up on the
Yes,
screen.
yeah.
It'll be wonderful.
Yeah.
But let's go Bethel History. And I just thought that'd be a fun segment to come back to here and there of something, we all have some history at Bethel. Yeah. How long have you been with us now, Kiera?
Oh, well, I don't know like how to count it because I
How long
grew
have you
up.
been on staff
Okay.
first?
Oh, I want
4
to say
years?
it's
5
4
years?
or 5 years now.
Were you pre-COVID, post-COVID?
Post-COVID.
Post-COVID.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
COVID was 5 years ago.
Yeah. So
But
4
but
years.
you
Yeah.
grew up here largely.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. And then Kevin, same. You've been on staff how long now?
Just about 7 years. In January, it'll be 7 years.
Okay, coming up, on your anniversary, and then again, largely grew up here, so you've got some history. Where, well, we just had trunk or treat. I've been here 18 years, and Rick, in this last trunk or treat, which we had a lot of new people helping out, but he kind of gave everybody an overview at the beginning that this is the 25th year. We started it when
That's
with
crazy.
the new building and everything. So, it's gone through so many iterations of things. So I thought I would ask kind of your favorite memory from trunk or treat. So I'm assuming when you guys were kids, then there was no trunk or treat.
I don't
And
remember
well,
participating
this
in
is
it.
it. Yeah, but whether or not, you came as a kid, you don't remember if you ever came to
No,
one.
I don't remember it
Okay.
as. Yeah.
So you've got 4 years to
Yeah, I
pull
only have
from.
4 years.
And Kevin, you've got a few more.
Yeah. Try to think, because Rick said it was going 25 years, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so
So
I
you
don't
would have been
remember
just
when I
old
was,
enough to not really be trick or treating anymore.
Yeah, so I was in high school. I was probably we did the spook walk as a youth group
Yes.
Oh.
out at Faith Bible Camp, right?
I didn't do the Faith Bible Camp. We did it at the Hipplers when I was here.
Okay.
But I'd heard plenty of stories about that.
So that was a whole thing. I mean, yeah, it was set up and you had to drive a little ways, and then you just try and invite as many people as you can to this free event where you walk through a forest and get scared a bunch. And then talk about Jesus at the end of it. So that's that's my memories as um, a high school
A younger
student,
person.
early 2000s. Yeah.
But have you done trunks every year with your family since you've been here?
Yes. Yeah. So I remember I was kind of interviewing at Bethel for what year was that? 2018. And so we walked through the trunk or treat thing, and I remember Scott Wilson at the end like handing me a card and being like, "Hey, you should come back to Bethel," like he was saying to everyone else. And then he was like, "Next week and then forever after that," or something
That's
like that. So
hilarious.
yeah, we've been a lot of superheroes in the past. So we were just another. We've done the Marvel. We've done like all Spider-Man, and then this year was DC, where we were all like the older people in our family were the villains. Like I was Two-Faced, which is why my beard is so short because I had to, trim
Oh.
half of my beard off to like paint my face and all that. So I had a good side and a bad side, and yeah, that's why I had to shave it all off after that.
I never asked you why you did that. Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of superhero trunks, and then the two youngest were like the heroes, Batman and Wonder Woman. So
To face the villains.
yes.
Kira, favorite trunk or treat memory so far?
Favorite trunk or treat? Okay, I have a couple. So I think the very first year I decided, I think I was like, I definitely was not, it was like when I was part time, not in my full time position here. I was under Rick. And so I was like, well, I kind of want to just see how it all goes. And I was thinking to myself, you know what? I'm going to be one of the traffic people to help with the traffic to like go around the parking lot. And it was when we were doing outside. It wasn't when we were doing inside. And I was like, how hard can it be? And I remember everyone was like, it was like one of the warmest years ever. And I went home and I was like, I am frozen. And I was like, I have such a deep appreciation for all of the people that do like the traffic and the security outside. Like that's not for the, you know,
Faint of heart.
faint of heart, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. But I think either that year or the year after too, one of my favorite memories was also that Austin Hall decided to be Maui from
Oh yeah.
yeah, and he went shirtless that entire night.
And that was not a warm
It
night.
was not a warm night, and I was like, I am frozen, and I have this huge onesie on, and I can't imagine like how cold you are right now. So those are some memories that kind of stood out to me.
That's good. That's good. My family's always been big on it. We trick or treated with our kids, and we kind of had the rule once you were in sixth grade, you couldn't trick or treat anymore.
Mm.
I don't know where that judgment in me came from. I got a lot of judgment in me, but I was like, you shouldn't be trick or treating. That's for the kids. And so, but once we had multiple kids start to be in that space, we're like, we need to get on board with this as a family. And so, the first year we kind of went at it a little bit, and we got on the front page of the paper. I remember that.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's
the picture
crazy.
still hangs in my office, but probably my favorite. We've done a lot of cool trunks. Most people say their favorite of ours is the pirate ship. Everybody kind of remembers the
Oh,
pirate
wow.
ship, and that did generate like an atmosphere outside, and so I can see why. But my favorite memory is actually kind of a smaller thing. So those who came this year, if you saw, there was the Rocket Raccoon that was interacting with people, and that was via technology. Grayson was in another room and could see the kids and was interacting, and it was capturing her face and then making the raccoon do the stuff. So we did a Star Wars trunk in this library here, and I had Kellen back here on camera, and my mom had built an R2D2, and we put a projector in the head, so it was like projecting onto this like transparency fabric, so
Hmm.
it looked like a Luke Skywalker hologram, and people just thought it was a video again, until then Kellen, who could see them, would interact, and I had his voice going out to it too, and so they couldn't see Kellen, but they could see this hologram. And he's a pretty quiet kid, and he said he wanted to do it. And I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna work. He just became a different person. He was so engaging with the kids, which people had always told us our kids were pretty good with other kids. And I'm like, even my quiet ones are like, no, they're great with kids. And he really was, even though it was through a screen and he was interacting basically via video chat.
Yeah.
But they were interacting with a hologram of him. And so just seeing him come alive, as much as I enjoyed all the technology, I enjoy all the creative stuff and everything. Seeing him come alive, like Grayson did a great job as Rocket. I mean, she was, I love your dress, and I mean,
Yeah.
again, I think she wants to work with kids as a career.
Yeah.
But to watch him do that, like it just, yeah, kind of made a special memory for that. So, who knows what we're gonna do next year? But trunk or treat is pretty fun thing. See a lot of people from the community come through. Though, what was the joke you heard? It was the Krista
Oh yeah,
Tran's
yeah.
favorite joke.
Every room she would walk into, she would go, "Wow, your walk through Bethlehem looks really strange this year." Like, I don't remember all this stuff in the nativity scene. And so keep it coming, Krista. Every year, just
That's
you
right.
got to say it.
That's right. Um, well, that's our kind of fun segment of Bethel history. We always like to do a little spiritual, segment. So this week we're gonna do God moment, and when it comes to kids devotions, I kind of thought like, have you ever seen either had personally? Maybe you guys. Maybe I should start with this. Did you guys do devotions as kids? Did you do devotions, Kara?
Yeah, I did.
Were you required to do devotions?
No, actually, no,
Okay.
no. That
When
kind of came on our own kind of thing.
when did you start doing that?
I would I don't know. I probably started the first kind of memory of me like reading the Bible on my own was actually when I got my Bible here at Bethel when I think it was at that point we did first grade, like first
Okay.
grade is when we got our
Mhm.
Bibles, and I remember like being like reading through it. I definitely just read it and highlighted every single word that I read. So,
Okay.
but at that point like that was the first time I think I remember opening up the Bible for myself. But it was probably upper elementary, junior high is when I started to really like learn how to read the word and actually like, apply that to my life,
Mhm.
if that makes sense. So, but we were required for family devotions. So,
Fair enough, fair
yeah.
enough. Kevin, did you do devotions as a kid?
Yeah, I have some memories of just sitting on my dad's back while he read through some scriptures, and like it was in the boys' room, so all of us were kind of just sitting on him or around him. And one memory I do have is we were talking about, or no, this was we were reading like I forget the name of it, but it was a story book about stories like from the Bible. And so instead of Elijah, the name was like Eli. And the whole time my dad was reading it, he pronounced the name Ellie. And so then my mom was reading it one night and she said Eli. And we're all like, who's Eli? And she's like, this guy. We're like, no, 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 that's Ellie. And and then so my mom, of course, was to my dad like, "Why would you say Ellie? It's Eli." And he's like, "I don't know. I just that's how I pronounced it."
That's
So
hilarious.
good memories there as a kid.
That's fun. I didn't do devotions as a kid. I don't think I started devotions till late in high school, as I kind of got serious about my faith. But so I wanted to ask the question for a God moment, and it could be a memory. Maybe that was the memory. I'd ask them to come with a memory of you personally or an interaction you've had with a kid around them doing devotions, just to kind of connect to our devotion theme and where we're going for things. So let's come back to you, Kira. Do you got a particular memory or an interaction you've had with kids? I think about like, we always had camps where we had kids do devotions, and for a lot of kids that was their first experience doing those type of things. So, anywhere and everywhere, what's your
Yeah.
your God moment with kid devotions?
Um, there's two moments that I kind of think of there was just I agree with the camp moments of a lot of that is the first time that those kids are opening up the Bible and learning how to do that on their own. And so just getting to see the counselors be able to lead them through that has been a really, because a lot of times the counselors are also still learning in their faith.
Mhm.
So as they are teaching the kids to learn and read the Bible and leading them in that, they're also learning how to do that for themselves too. And so been a beautiful thing, especially for our winter retreat that we usually have for the third through fifth graders.
Mhm.
Just getting to see them grow in that muscle. And then also I remember the last winter retreat did a challenge of like, okay, who can read the book of Genesis? And at the end of the month, whoever read that book of Genesis, and they told me about it, we were going to go to a movie. And so there was a couple kids, and I remember Zeki and Graham being one of them too, and getting to go to the Minecraft movie with them, which was like, it's so silly. Like, okay, I get to go to a movie with the kids, but like being able to celebrate that accomplishment with them of
Mhm.
like, they're doing that for themselves and they were excited about doing it. Whenever I get to participate in that is a win for me. So,
That's awesome. That's a great memory.
yeah.
What about you, Kevin? I don't know for you, or I mean, you just shared a great memory for you. Maybe that was yours, or you got one about one of your kids.
Yeah, I mean, just recently I was putting Sayla down to bed and just praying with her before bed, and she usually tries to like get me to stay longer and linger, like wait, I got this one question. And recently, we've been talking about baptism with her, and so she's had a lot more just good faith questions. And so out of nowhere, the other night last week, she's like, wait, so God created the earth in 7 days, but he didn't work on one day, like he just rested. She's like, if he's like all powerful, like why did he rest?
Mm.
And then just leading into like he kind of gave that as an example for us, to rest the Sabbath day. And then like all the wheels are turning in her head. And then she was like, "Oh, well, why didn't God create anything like for himself? Like he could make anything. Like why wouldn't he just do something for himself?" And then like it kind of led to like, "Oh, he created us because out of his love and great mercy and his character." And then it was like this full circle of like, "Wait, he created us like for himself." And then it was like these like light bulb moments for, a little 7-year-old was is pretty fun to just see. And like Weston always says, like the late night questions and conversations are usually where, you can't plan those. You can't like demand, like, ask me a good question tonight, daughter, and have her just on the spot come up with that. But just in their own minds and own hearts as they hear, in kids ministry and at home as we're doing devotions together, just about the Lord, like those questions just kind of come up naturally and lead to really memorable moments where you just thank God that we can have this relationship with Him, with our kids, and that they're learning and growing in that as well.
And it's funny, that's basically essentially my category of memories is those late night conversations.
Mhm.
That's what I was going to share because, we call it a spiritual discipline for, to get kids to read their Bibles, but it's a parental discipline because when it's late and you're tired and, I think a lot of times they are trying to, because they know what can I get to do to get dad to stay and us to
Mhm.
stay up later. If I can come up with a theological or biblical question,
Yeah.
that's gold. And if you got more than one kid in one room, they can play off each other. And so, but trying to just have the discipline of like, do I want to go downstairs and hang out with Amy and finally, well, not usually shut down, right? Do all the stuff that you need to do that you've been putting off and while you've been trying to put all the kids to bed so that we can eventually shut down and relax. Like, yes, but having the discipline to stay and have those conversations and answer those questions and create those spaces and in some senses, I mean, we'll still have. I mean, I can remember a couple times last year, the boys reading their Bibles. Their small group leaders would continue to challenge them to read their Bibles, and so they'd be up reading before they go to bed. And then if I walk by, they'll ask me a question. I'll go in still have good conversations, but now it's more, Amy and I, they hang out downstairs, and so we'll go up and we'll watch something in our bed, and it'll be 10 o'clock at night because our kids are older, and one will come in with a question about something, not necessarily Bible related, sometimes, and then another one, and then another one. Pretty soon there's 3 or 4 people on our bed, and,
Mhm.
it's why it takes us, 3 hours to watch a 45-minute show. But, you wouldn't trade it. So, that's definitely my kind of greatest moments of remembering devotions, our kids doing devotions, is those late night questions. I was trying to think if any particular stood out to me, and I couldn't pull them, but man, the number of times, every one of my kids, at some point asking questions and things, and some of them more inquisitive than others, and some of them are deeper and theological, and others are like, "What about aliens? What about dinosaurs?" And things like that. But so we're hoping to give you those same opportunities if your heart was warmed by hearing any of these stories. Like, this is what could be in store for you. Now, I will say, I'd say that was one every 10 to 15 days. Maybe I got a, good, fun late night question. I don't know how often it happens in your house. So it's definitely fun, but don't be like, I've done this for a week and no kid has asked me a great question like Kevin just shared. It must just be Selah's better than everybody else. Um, have patience, and lean into the process, and
Mhm.
let the Holy Spirit work, and not only work in your kids but work in you, and just be able to follow up. I still do, like, tomorrow I'll take Quinn out for bagels because the bagel shop's now open, and we try to do once a week in the morning now before school. So Wednesday's a late start. I still say I don't get near the discussion in the morning that I do late at night. There's just something about late night.
Those are some of my
um,
favorite memories with my parents, like living at my parents' house when I was living there. It was just I don't know, there's something about that junior high, high school age, and even young adult I remember of just like it's late at night when all of those questions and you just want to connect with your parent.
mhm.
And so those are some of my favorite memories of looking back of like connecting with my parents is like them being willing to stay up late and to have those conversations. So even if it feels like minuscule and it doesn't really feel like discipleship, like no, like those are those important times of discipleship, whether they're 3 years old or whether they're 24 or 25 years old. Like those are really important times.
And like Kevin said, as much as I have my schedule, Quinn and I Wednesday morning, you can't necessarily plan for when you're going to have those conversations. I've heard it described in a number of ways when it comes to following the Lord or leading. Like, you can, prepare your heart, prepare in prayer, but it's kind of like, riding a wave. I know we're in the Midwest and we're not near the ocean, but the you can't make the wave. You can only ride it, but you have to be prepared to ride it. You have to show up. You have to be there. You have to be willing to engage, no matter how tired you are, no matter how irritable. Just go to bed. That you have to be willing to do that. So that's our encouragement to you, our little God moment. That wraps up this episode of the Bethel Culture Podcast. So we'll see you next time.